Bonjour, all you kiddos and kiddettes. Welcome back for drawing lesson number 3. Today we're going to work with some ink and draw this bear character here. So we're going to do that together. My name is Jonathan Thunder. I'm going to be your host artist today. So grab a pen and some paper and let's make some art. Starting with the head, like I always do. We're going to go ahead and put that about here. And since we're using a pen today, we're probably going to make some marks that we'll have to work with. That's part of working with ink, is that sometimes you make marks that you don't actually mean to, but you just work with them. And that's just one of the beautiful things about working with a pen is it just kind of takes you along, and the more you use it, the more you'll get comfortable with it. So the hardest part is making the first mark. And once you got that done, you just kind of go for it. We're going to go ahead and draw the little snout or the nose on that bear, and we got this little upper lip. It kind of looks like that. Our bear's going to be a little cartoony today because we're going to draw, the bear doing something kind of fun. Go ahead and draw this bear. Holding some balloons and flying high into the sky. Maybe representational of conquering your fears and not being afraid to try things, and fear of success. To succeed, you gotta try stuff, and sometimes it's not going to work out the way you want it to. But if you don't try it, you'll never know how it would have went or could have went, or how to do it better next time. It's kind of like working with a pen. So let's see. We'll draw a little bear ear right there. Going to make a little one. Just working on some shapes for the mouth here, and I'm going to use that cross hatching style to fill things in today as well. Let's see, we're going to go ahead and get some nostrils, kind of color that nose. And with this pen, there's various pressures that you can use. Like you can press down hard to make things kind of dark. And like I did with the nose here, you can just sort of softly run that pen across there, and get a different shade, which is a little more subtle. Let's see, and then the bottom, I think, of this lip. I'm going to come back. I'm going to draw some little tufts of fur here by the neck. And then we'll draw this back of the head coming down. You notice I'm making some little rough lines there. That's sort of like the, suggesting that there's some tufts of fur there that are kind of waving around a little bit. And I'm going to shade that ear in. Guess we're just kind of shading as we go on this one. Let's see. So I'm actually going to start working that arm up to hang on to those balloons. And then this one, it's probably going to be a little more kind of down. I'm going to give him a little thumb here because he's a cartoon. So it's okay if he has a little thumb. You know, we go back and if any of this stuff doesn't look exactly right, you can kind of smooth it out, you know, and fix it a little bit. Giving him kind of a big bear claw there, but that's kind of how it's going to go here for now. And then we'll have one finger coming back. Like that. And then this is where the balloons are going to be coming up here. So in the cartoon world, a lot of times instead of 5 digits, characters just have 3 fingers and a thumb. So like a total of 4. And I think that's for the purposes of just keeping it kind of simplified, and that way you can you know, create a lot of artwork around your character and not get lost in little details like hand placement, you know, how many fingers are doing what, because hands can be really difficult, and if you're drawing a animal hand to look like the articulation of a human hand, that can be extra tricky as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll start to sketch in some of our shapes for the string that's going to go up to the balloon here. We're just going to have them sort of going out in different directions, and then we'll connect the balloons up here. He's probably going to be holding at least a few balloons, maybe 4 or 5. I'm just trying to make these lines as straight as I can. If your lines aren't, you know, like perfectly straight, they look weird, wiggly, you know, or any of this ink gets in places that you don't want it to, you know, like let's just say you got a line that, oops, you know, I accidentally made a line there. Don't worry about it, you know, you can fix it somehow. You know, maybe there's like a little shading here or something like that, you know, and that'll start to get lost, or maybe you just bring that all the way around, you know, there. That's just kind of working with the ink. You know, that kind of helped me to figure out that I wanted a little bit of shadow inside the hand there just to give it some dimension. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the other portion, the other half of this arm up. To the hand. And let's see here, we're going to bring the body down, start coming around the belly here. And then that's going to help us to figure out, you know, where the leg is going to be. We'll do that next here. Right now I kind of want to get some more of this arm started. Just kind of trying to think about this as I go. So for this one, I think since there's not so much happening with this hand, it's just kind of going to be hanging down like this. You know, we can give him a little more of a kind of an abstract shape here. And then if we want to add some more detail later, I think we'll worry about that then. So that's good for me for now. I think we're probably gonna take a look at that again in a little bit here. Just kind of work on that. But let's see here. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and make a little armpit there. But we're gonna actually have the rest of the body come down back here. So here's where the arm actually kind of connects to the armpit, but the back line of his body is going to be just on the outside of that, giving it a little more depth. And then we'll go ahead and draw his backside there. And that's probably going to come down, let's see, I guess his leg will probably look, for the sake of this drawing, something like that. And then his other leg is going to be, we'll put it right about there. And yeah, I'll probably come back to that and work on it just a little bit. I think I'm going to go ahead, just add a little line there to connect everything up. I'm going to put the foot right about there. We're going to give him some bear claws on the back here. And I might actually, for the feet, just because it's starting to go that direction, I'm going to go ahead and give him 4 toes. Let's see. We're going to have this one sticking out this way a little bit. So it's at a different angle. We'll see once I get the claws on there how many toes he has. Yep, okay. I don't want to force it, but I wanted to try to get him 4. Sometimes when you have a perspective like that, it's not always going to allow you to show all of those. I'm going to see what happens if I just run this line a little thicker here because his leg's looking a little thin. We're going to color this bear in pretty soon here. So working with some thicker lines like this isn't going to be a problem. I'm going to round this section of it out too so it kind of comes up and connects with that shape of his belly just a little more. I'm going to try to round this out a little bit. Just give him a little more thickness to his legs. And then bears have that little tail back here. And then we'll just go ahead and give him that little short bear tail shaded in just a little bit. I think one thing we're missing is an eyeball. So we're going to go ahead and then add, his eye is pretty wide here because I'm sure, this bear is going to be pretty excited. He's flying around in the air. And then maybe have them looking slightly down as if they're looking at the ground a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and shade the eye in like that. For this one, we'll just do the one eye. Sometimes I like to put both eyes on that side of the head, but I think that the way his head is pointed, we're not going to do that. I'm going to round out this ear shape just a little bit, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put that other ear back there. All right. So if this is a black bear, like you might see around Minnesota, they're going to have this, they're going to be black around here, and then their belly is going to be just a little more of a tan color, and that comes all the way up to their nose. So we're going to draw a little distinction line here before we do our shading. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and run that line. This is a little tricky. Trying to figure out how his body is twisting, because his head is I've sort of drawn his head facing this way and his belly is facing that way. So now I got to draw this sort of axis of his body kind of going all the way across here. And this thing on his belly, this sort of what's going to be tan or lighter colored in this case, is a good way to demonstrate that. So I think that looks pretty good. That's gonna go well for the sake of this exercise here. And then I believe they have just a little, I'm actually gonna use this little eyebrow shape here because I think there's a little bit of brown right above their eye too. But let's not forget about these balloons that are going to be holding this guy up. So I think what we want to do is, at the moment, I'm going to go ahead and draw, you know, that little knot that you tie a balloon with. I'm going to draw that on there, and then this is kind of the leftover. And I think for this one, I'm going to try and put it in front of the string. And then it's got the little opening there where you blew the balloon up or filled it up with helium, I guess in this case. And then after I draw these, we'll go ahead and attach the top part of the balloon, the round part. Let's work with that for now. I think if I wanted to add more, I can add those next. So balloons are kind of egg-shaped. I think, especially if they're going up in the air, you know, a big portion of that gas that's inside of them, helium or hot air, depending on the balloon, it's going to be towards the top. So the top's going to be kind of round. And the bottom's going to be a little pointed like that. So I think that's looking good for our first balloon. I made a little mark right there that I didn't mean to, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me too much. And maybe actually when we put this balloon behind that one, we'll be able to use that for a little bit of shading or something. You know, you see how I'm just kind of letting the pen do its thing, and then if it makes a mark you know, that I didn't exactly intend, like this little mark here. I'm not worried about it. You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and go with it. You just kind of gotta take it as it comes, and you know, just don't even worry about it too much, because it's all part of the process. And you know, all those little marks right there, that's all part of the beauty too, of just making something, you know, just kind of sketching something out. And you know, this is supposed to be kind of relaxing too, so if you let it stress you out, then you know, you're not gonna wind up with a great result. Probably not only for, you know, the way the drawing turns out, but just also for how you're feeling about it. So there is 3 balloons. I think we're gonna go ahead and leave it like that for now. But these little strings here, so not only do they have to kind of have a little piece, you know, where they were tied off, you know, and if you really wanted to get into it, I guess there would be like a knot, you know, right there too or something, but we're not gonna do all that, not today. I think for this drawing, you know, we're gonna keep it fairly simple. And then these strings here, you gotta come out of somewhere. For the first one, you see how I'm just kind of like pushing a bunch of ink into that space there, just to kind of make a, you know, an entry space for my string. And then I'm actually going to have it kind of blown off to the side here like this. Maybe give it a little wave. And then we'll do another string here. And with this pen, I'm kind of going over some of my other lines here, which is, depending on how neat you want it to be, you know, is, I guess, okay. I'm kind of steady my paper here. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm going to bring the other part of this string in. So that's 2, and then maybe we'll go easy on ourselves and just put the 3rd one right there. So the way these strings are sticking out this way, and his head is sticking that way, it's kind of starting to look like his balloons are taking him on an adventure somewhere. Who knows? Maybe to a secret choke cherry spot that nobody knows about. All right. So we have all of our elements in place here. So now all I'm gonna do is take this pen and try to create some dimension using shading for the bear, some shading for the balloons, and then maybe like a highlight. Because if you see, you know, balloons, they have like this they're shiny. They're not shiny, but kind of glossy. So one way to draw them is to just put like a little highlight on them. You know, and what that is, that's basically light is hitting this balloon, and since it's a sort of a glossy surface, it condenses into this point called a specular highlight. That's a little nerdy for the sake of this tutorial, but that's ultimately what we're drawing here. You know, and you can, if you want, you can draw one up here. Maybe it has multiple sources, but I think that looks okay for now. And then we will start to shade this balloon by using our cross-hatching method that I've discussed before. And we'll just go along the bottom of this balloon for now. And we'll do the same thing here. We're going to fill that underside of the balloon, because if the light's coming from the top, then that means that there's going to be some shadow underneath the balloon. So that looks okay for that. I think since this balloon and this balloon are behind this balloon, I think what I'll do is create some extra shading here, just to kind of set those apart. Paper's kind of sticking to me a little bit. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go ahead and make some big sweeping lines right here just to give these balloons some color. You know, and with the pen being just black ink, I guess you can imagine. Just use your imagination, and you know, maybe these balloons are red or bright green or anything like that, you know. And we're just kind of hinting at the idea that there's a little bit of color. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna leave those balloons alone for now. We're gonna go ahead and work on our bear. So for this guy, I'm gonna start shading in his arm a little bit, as you can see, using a little more cross hatching. And one way to think about what direction your lines should be facing is just imagine that if you were to draw a line that showed the roundness of this character, what direction would you start that line? So like the line would probably go like that. So for maybe this side, I would have those lines come down in this direction. You know, and it doesn't always have to be that way. They can actually go in any direction that is handy for you. And don't be afraid to kind of spin your paper around and stuff too. You know, like if you gotta move your paper so that you have a better angle on stuff. See, as you can see, I'm just sort of drawing just a line going in that direction, but it's working for the shading that I'm trying to create here. And for this guy, we're gonna go ahead and just go straight down. Right there. Actually, we'll go in a few directions here. So I'll pick that up right there. And then we're gonna go ahead and color in the rest of his leg. Don't worry if your shading lines are straight or anything like that. You know, this is drawing with ink. Unless you're creating a mold for, you know, like a imprint or an etching or something like that, it doesn't really matter how clean these lines are. You know, it's your personal preference. And I'm moving a little quick here so that this drawing tutorial doesn't take too much time. So I'm just kind of drawing these lines in pretty quickly. I'm just going to go ahead and shade this other arm in here, because like I said, this is our black bear. You know, so he's going to be kind of dark. And I'm going to do the same for the head. I'm going to put a little bit right here. Being mindful of this line, because that's where his, I guess, the tan part of a black bear's body would be. Just going to connect those up. Let's see here. So for this arm, I kind of want to twist this thing, but I'm not going to. I'm going to fill in his hand here. And just come down his arm like this. There. You know, and if you want to, you can sort of thicken up these lines here on the side. I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. Just some of them. Just some of them. Sort of adds to the idea that there's like a shape here when you fatten up some of the lines. Like this underarm might be pretty thick, you know, and I'm actually going and just darken this in a little bit. Add some shading here, and here, and here. And then this tan area right here, play with his eye just a little bit. We're going to do that light pressured, and the lines are going to be just a little further apart. So the further apart your lines are, the less shading you're going to get. I'm going to try to see if I can have these go down around the shape of that belly. Almost like it was fur, I suppose, as opposed to just shading. You know, maybe we're kind of taking care of both things. We're giving it a little fur texture at the same time, and we're giving it just a little bit of shading. All right. And now, I think we'll just go ahead and shade the underside of this belly. Just going to kind of look around at things here and just see if there's anything else that needs work. Maybe I'm going to give this front leg just a little bit more shape along with this section of the leg here. Going to darken in this here just a little bit too. See, once you get everything in place, you kind of have a better idea of, you know, how light and dark things should be. I'm going to go ahead and make a hard line here, almost as if this arm is sort of being obscured by the body a little bit, by this sort of almost, I don't know, chest area of the bear. All right, I think that looks pretty good. All right, miigwech everybody who followed along today doing our ink tutorial with the bear here. And feel free to post any pictures that came from your lesson today. My name is Jonathan Thunder. Join me next time as we draw Sabe, aka Bigfoot, aka Biggie, aka Sasquatch, whatever you like to call him when you see him around. You know who he is. So tune in for that. In the meantime, be safe, be well. Gimaadizimin, Mino.